All right. Look at this. Fancy, eh? Yeah, it seems to be working. So I'm getting pretty set up here, it looks like. So what I'm going to do today is I want to talk about now that I've really gotten into my Vdrums over the past day or two, now that I've figured out how to, record directly. So you can see me playing and hear the sound at the same time. And this one is this Flanger set. And so what I want to talk about today is what are these goofy sets? Hold on, all right. So what I want to talk about is what do you do with these goofy sets? And these are the types that they all have kind of these weird sounds and strange, like a lot of the times you'll see here pad pattern. So a lot of the times what they do is they pre-program some of these triggers to have effects. And this one happens to play a chord. Sometimes they play a little song. They trigger a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, these are, so what can you do with this stuff? Well, that's what I want to show you. Okay, so this seems to work out here. Anyway, what can you do with these things? With all these funny different sounds. So what I started doing was you start off with a basic beat and you find out kind of what everything's going to sound like with the feel of whatever that beat is. So I always have kind of a go-to rock beat that I end up going to as a default. And I try just kind of get into like a usual moderate tempo 4/4 time sort of beat and start throwing in some fills. And if that doesn't work with the feel of the set, then I start to change it up. And you end up finding that, with these electronic sets that have, this is an old set. I've had this for, I think I bought it in 2006 or 7 or something. And it's got 50 sets programmed into it. And some of them are really cool. Some of them not so much. Some of them are super strange and have a bunch of different effects and so forth. But these ones that, what I was getting at was you might have a set that sounds a certain way that allows you to react a little different to the way the drum feels, even though they're all the same pads every time. You're just changing how they're programmed. I find that my reaction to the sound of it through the headphones affects my playing. And I use that for these funky sets that make no sense and have all this sort of stuff. So I'll just start off with a regular rock beat. Okay, so you'll notice that it's called Flanger, so it's got some effects going on. You can hear the flanging kind of coming up and down. And at the end there, you got a bit of a roll sort of happening when you hit the rim of the pad. So all these drums here are triggered differently. So I've got a trigger on the skin, and I got a trigger on the rim. And they do different things. So we have similar sounding things going around the set. I have, this drum is actually kind of broken. I've only got one trigger on it, but anyway. What do we got? Let's throw some fills in, see how things sound. Not bad, it's got some sounds to it that you can throw together kind of half decent rhythms for it. It doesn't sound too out there. So it's got some things to work with. But what about that pad pattern that we have programmed into the rim here? What's this? Let's see what happens. Let's just start throwing in some cymbals and see how that kind of gets in the way. So what I've noticed is that on the rim, or the bell, of this cymbal, they've programmed in the same cymbal sound. I just don't have to worry so much about that. So, the reason for that is because this and this were not original to the set that I bought them after. So, anyway, I am going to throw in some cymbals and just See what happens. We'll see how much these chords get in the way. So you can hear that there's kind of a progression, there's a bit of a sequence to it. And if you're just kind of hitting it randomly like you can normally get away with a real crash because it just sounds good all the time, unless it's off beat. This, obviously, you got to be aware of what it's going to do. So I was playing around a little bit, and I realized that it has kind of a timing effect on it where you've got that certain note there. If I give it, it seemed like a whole bar at least, we can hit that same note. But if we get into hits a little sooner, we end up changing the tone. So you work that into kind of how you're playing, and then if you can find a way to feel all these weird sounds, you can kind of compose them into a cool beat. And I find the easiest way to do that is to start off low and slow. Give these weird ones kind of the ambiance they need to breathe and give you a chance to feel it. So I was practicing a little bit. I got a bit of a feel for how these chords go. That was like half an hour ago now, so my mind's kind of drifted away and started getting into setting up all this stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to freestyle, totally improv. I haven't really kind of warmed up, but I haven't practiced anything. So this is just experimenting. I'm going to feel things out. I'm going to kind of let a groove kind of fill the space. There you have it. As easy as that.